This video on the sociology of the family is focusing on the idea of childhood and the social construction of childhood. We decide what childhood is. So, the social construction of childhood. The idea was mostly created by Philip Aries in his book here. Cultures decide what childhood is. We decide how children should behave and what they should and should not do. It's not natural, it's cultural. Aries points out in the past, and still today in most cultures, children work. There's no such thing as childhood, they're mini adults. In some cultures, children fight in wars. No such thing as childhood, they're mini adults. In the past, when people were farmers, simply put, their children were extra workers. And then, in about 1800 onwards, Industrial Revolution, places like Britain, families moved to cities, and again, their children worked. It's a textile mill here. And the children are working. They're not seen as separate. Childhood's not seen as separate to being an adult. They're just mini adults. And that's culturally normal. And then Aries argues between 1800 and now, in particular from the year 1900 onwards, which he called the century of the child, we essentially slowly created the idea of childhood. We passed laws so kids couldn't work. We passed laws so they had to go to school. We created the idea of the teenager, which is a brand new idea. We slowly created the idea of childhood. Linked to that has been what's called the child-centered family. As parents, most people become a bit richer. As people have fewer children, they put more of their effort into those children, and the family starts to revolve around the children. It's a similar idea to the helicopter parents we talked about before. The family is centered upon the happiness of the kid. Happiness of the kid's the most important thing, not the happiness of the adults. Some people spend a lot of money on kids' bedrooms, which they wouldn't have done 50 years ago. A, they didn't have the money, and B, they wouldn't have thought it was normal to do that. The idea of kids going out to play unsupervised has mostly gone. The idea of your dad taking you to the pub and you sit on the steps outside while he's in the pub has gone. That'd be abusive these days. 50 years ago, that was normal. However, let's not get away here. Particularly for working class kids in poverty, it's not all roses. And in this country, the research shows that teenagers are not particularly happy. Children become 16th out of 29 countries in terms of child happiness. We still have kids getting pregnant, alcohol and drug abuse at young age, so it's not all great. Which leads to the work of Neil Postman, or what we're going to call kidulthood. He says, his argument is, it's actually going into reverse, that children, teenagers are starting to be treated more like adults at a younger age. And he blames the media, television, and in more recent years, things like video games and that sort of thing, for making kids grow up earlier than they were before. But again, this is cultural, not natural. To say that that kid at 15 should be a kid, that's a decision we've made as a culture.